What's up? It's your girl Moriah. You're now tuned into Survival Kit, the podcast. Today is Thursday, March 3rd, 2022. Thanks for coming back. Thanks for tuning in. Shout out to all the listeners. I'm seeing the streams go up. I always talk about how I don't like paying attention to the streaming numbers. I can get crazy when it comes to the analytical data. So I try to stay out of that. But every now and then I do go in and check. Um, try to check maybe a week or so after the episode's been posted just to see how the numbers are streaming. So shout out to everybody who's listening. Shout out to all the new subscribers. I take one, I take 1,000. So shout out to everybody that's tuning in and appreciates the content. Love business. I'm a business junkie. So yeah, this is what I do in my spare time. I talk business. I'll talk your head off about entrepreneurship and new business news that I'm finding out. I try to stay away from political business news. Not my favorite topic. I'm more so the entrepreneurship, the small business news. So yeah, again, thanks for tuning back in. So let's get into it today. Today's episode is called "You Can Never Box Me Out." So in business, a lot of times, small business owners especially get boxed out of the business space. They get boxed out of the market. What is the market? That's the field that we're in. So if you get into business, you're now part of the business marketplace. Similar to think about the app stores that you might have on your phone. You might have a Google Play Store. You might have the Apple App Store. Um, in those spaces, it's a bunch of apps, and you got to kind of cut through the noise. It's thousands of apps that you can choose from. I could type in basketball games and like hundreds of apps will pull up with different type of games that I could download. Some you got to pay for, some are free. Some are free in up until a certain point. Some, you got to get through the ads. You got to, pay to stop seeing the ads. There's all different kind of things for different kind of people. There's always a different type of business trying to fulfill a need for a different type of consumer. So because of that, you got to make sure you're cutting through all of that noise. I know that can sound daunting, especially to the new business owner. It can be a little overwhelming because it's kind of like, dang, all right, I got this great idea. And now I made my LLC or my partnership or my, whatever business structure you decide. You finally figured that part out. You've made it. And now you're getting into the field, and then you realize there's a bunch of other people doing the same thing. I had the same experience when I went off to college. So in my family, I'm one of the first in my immediate family to even go to an institution. We majority of us, I want to say, went to some type of college. I was the one that decided to go to the 4-year institute and get I wanted the full experience. Like if I'm going to do it, I need the full experience. I need to be dorm living, all that kind of stuff. And so you go to you could either stay in your town and do community, or you can go to a 4-year school. So I decided to go to the 4-year school, and I'm like, I'm gonna be popping, I'm gonna make it. And then I go, and then I pick my major, and I look around, and there's thousands of kids with my same major, and they all want to do the same thing that I'm doing. And then you take it on the national level, it's thousands of colleges, thousands of kids that were in the communications and the PR and marketing field, and they all want to do the same thing that I want to do. So I'm like, yo, it's not just the people from back where I went to high school. It's not just the people from where I'm going to college. It's not even just the people on the national level. Now you take it even further. It's people on a global level. So it's colleges and universities and all kind of countries, and they all want to do marketing, want to do communications, want to do PR work. So I had a wake up call. I'm like, yo, if in order for me to cut through this noise, I gotta do something different, right? So that's what I mean by being boxed out of the market. It's so saturated, especially now. I feel like because we're going through what's called a great resignation right now, everyone's leaving their jobs, especially those who work in factories and work in, customer service, in-person type settings, retail. They want to have the same luxuries of working remote. Now, while remote work, it has its pluses and its minus. I work remote, and it's good, but everything has good and bad. I'll say that. So again, because of the Great Resignation, everybody is trying to get into this remote living, and so they're leaving their jobs, right? And so what they're doing is they're trying to find other jobs that are remote. So even in the hiring space, you don't want to get boxed out in that space either, because if this job offers full-time remote indefinitely. They'll supply you with everything that you need to work remotely, great benefits, great, all that good stuff. And then the other job down the street isn't doing that same thing. Chances are that job may shut down because of lack of employees, simply because they're not keeping up with the market. So that's what I mean by you don't want to get boxed out in the market. So what do I mean by boxed out? Y'all know I always relate stuff back to sports. So in basketball, all right, you don't want to get boxed out, especially if you're the bigger defender. So think about a basketball for those who aren't, good with sports. In the paint or under the basket, somebody throws up a shot, it doesn't go in. What you want to do is be the best defender in the paint. So you want to box out. So what that means is you want to lower your hips, you want to spread your feet, put your arms out, and you want to anticipate the rebound. You either got to jump for it, you might have to, if you ever play pickup, you might have to elbow, do a little pinch or something while ain't nobody looking to get that rebound, right? Because the goal is always to have the ball in your court. It's not the best. You never want to play defense. In this game, you always want to be offense. You want the control, to be in your side for the best interest of you. You don't want to leave room for others to box you out. You always want to be the one to box out and get the rebound. So that's what I mean by you can never box me out. I never want to be the one in business who gets boxed out. I always want to be in a position to win. All right, so the quote of the day, we always have a quote of the day. The quote of today is from the great Grant Cardone. It's, if they don't hate you, they don't know you. Again, if they don't hate you, they don't know you. What does that mean? If you ain't making no noise, nobody knows who you are. So I know a lot of times we always talk about haters and, don't pay attention to your haters. Haters is actually kind of good for you. In business, we don't call them haters, we call them competition. And competition is always good. I think business is a contact sport. A lot of people don't like to think of it that way, but it is. It's a little cutthroat, and you got to be willing to claw your way to the win. All right, so again, the quote of the day is, if they don't hate you, they don't know you. And again, you don't want to leave room for anybody to say that they don't know who you are. Right? So if you are a PR girl working out your city, you want to be the top in your city. If you are a photographer, you want to be the top in your city. If you are a sports agent or up and coming sports agent, you want to have the top talent in your city. If you are a podcaster, you want to work your way to the top. Fashion designer, the top. At least you want to be mentioned in the top 5, top 10, right? I'll give you top 10, especially for those who are coming up, those who are new in the game. You want to be mentioned around the greats. The reason why is because now it becomes the GOAT talk. So everybody knows in our generation, it's the LeBron versus Jordan. That's the GOAT talk right now. Who's better? Oh, well, Jordan played in this type of league. Well, LeBron is playing in that type of league. And so, although everybody, some people are like, oh, it shouldn't be a competition. For those who are enthralled in the sport of basketball, they understand that that's like a big honor to be even considered with the GOAT. Like Jordan was considered the GOAT. I was one of I want to be like my kids. And so I love Brian. My guy is Michael Jordan. So that's a crazy topic. It's always going on. I don't think it's ever going to end. Because of that, that's a good thing for LeBron, because if anything, that raises his value, because to be considered the GOAT, you got to go against who was considered the GOAT in previous times, right? So if you're in this space of competition, it's not necessarily a bad thing. If anything, it increases your value. And so you want to be valuable in the marketplace, because without value, consumers won't consume and you'll be out of business, right? Because in business, we are here to make money. I like to be in the understanding of we're here to make impact. However, at the same time, we're in business to make money. So if you're not really in business to make money, you might want to just do a little one-off thing on the side. Maybe it might be a hobby, but if you're really looking to grow and really looking to become something special within your space, you got to be willing to get in the ring. You got to be comfortable with competition, all right? Again, you got to be able to box out. So, I like to keep it short and sweet. I'm just going to get into some tips, what I think you as a small business owner should do in order to avoid getting boxed out, right, in the marketplace. You don't want to leave room for it again. So my first thing is to aim up. Now, when I say aim up, it's literally what I mean. You want to aim upwards. The people that are closest to you, the people that are horizontal to you, that's all good, right? So you want to get to know your peers, get to know the competition on your level, but at the same time, you want to aim up. So who is in that top five? Again, you want to be in that number. You want to be known as, okay, they might, this person might surpass the GOAT. Like they're on their way. It should be a conversation going on. Again, the quote of the day: if they don't hate you, they don't know you. A lot of times people are like, oh, they hating on you because they say you're not the best. But if you're even in the conversation with the best, that's a great thing in business. Like if you are a great advertiser in your city, and there's somebody who's been advertising in your city for 20 years, and you're in competition with them now, that's a good thing, because somebody's saying, no, they ain't never gonna be like the person that's been in it for 20 years. Somebody's like, no, this person is newer, they better, they understand the new digital age, the new generation, so this person is considered our GOAT. That's a great thing. That means you're in the top five. A little bit of hate, quote unquote, isn't bad, in my opinion. Again, this is my opinion. I don't think a little bit of hate is too bad, right? So you want to aim for the big dogs. You want to see who's the top five in your field, and you want to aim to either, I wouldn't say to emulate them. I don't really like when people emulate. I would just say, look at what they're doing, and then pay attention to what they're not doing, and do that. So whatever they aren't doing, do that, because that's what's going to separate you. All right, so you want to aim up. Number two is stay creative. To me, it's just a broader term for networking, right? So I feel like I'm at my best when I can network with others. So I'm not a big fan of vending events. I know that's been real popular, especially over the time of the pandemic. However, when you network, you get to see what other creators and other business owners are doing, and that's just naturally going to sharpen you up. I feel like iron sharpens iron. So you might get cut at the same time, but you get sharper at the same time. So I think staying creative is all about the circle that you keep. So you want to make sure you're staying around creatives. Find things that keep you creative. I know if I have, if I'm writing in my book, I have, I'll show you, I call it my brain from time to time. Everybody who does business with me knows I carry this thing around all the time. It's my brain is what, this is where my creative energy goes, right? So I might chill out in my office, might have a nice drink, and then I get to write, and then that's what helps me be creative. I like to listen to a lot of different type of music, so I might put my favorite rap album on. I'm always on a Reasonable Doubt kick. Like if all else fails and I don't know what other hip hop album to listen to, I'm putting on Reasonable Doubt, because it's just the go to. But at the same time, I do got some R&B favorites. Got some 90s gospel favorites. Cause the 90s gospel singers, they was hitting their R&B vibes. So it depends on the mood I'm in. But I'm definitely gonna put some music on that keeps me creative, that keeps me active. So when I'm making rugs, a shout out to I'm saying, our mascot. We call him Survivalist, the bull. In the market, we always like a bull market. We don't like a bear market. So shout out to the bull, right? And then I got another piece of art that I made over there. So if you're watching, what I'm saying, get with custom clip rugs. Shameless plug. All right, so make sure you're staying creative. You want to do things that keep you creative, do things that keep you active, things that stretch the mind. The mind is a muscle. If you're not stretching that muscle, you get a little rusty. You ever see a rubber band that hasn't gotten used, it hasn't gotten stretched, anything, it becomes brittle and then it breaks, right? So you don't want your business creativity to break. So you always want to be in a space of constant creativity. So whatever that means for you, find that thing and become consistent with it. I think consistency is the best type of attitude to have. You want to be consistent. So even if it's like, for example, being creative might be your content, posting one piece of content a day just to get started, and then you want to up that and up that, but you want to stay consistent with it. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just want to get started, right? That's the motto we got over here at Survival Kit. Just get started. Don't be scared to fail. It's okay. All right, and then the last tip is research your market. The famous quote goes, a man who knows something knows that he knows nothing at all. What that means is that you can know everything that you think you know about your market, and then you still don't know enough. I went to school for business. I did business in high school. I did business part-time in undergrad, and then I went to grad school for business. And even though I did all of that formal education, I still go and get the trench education, right? To me, the trench education is YouTube University, your favorite business influencer on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. To me, that's the trench work. Like, you want to go and you want to figure out what's going on the street level. So I'm not anti-college. I went to college. It has its pluses and minuses, like with everything else. But what you learn in school is just it's like a basic framework. What you want to do is go and do your own due diligence, do your own research. So you want to get out there, you want to figure out what's going on, you want to pay attention to trends. Again, I always say Twitter is like the new news platform. I go to Twitter before I go to the news on TV, traditional news sources. I always go to Twitter because Twitter is going to let you know what's going on. I remember there was this one situation of a business owner in LA. Now, we all know LA is a very expensive market. It's expensive to live and it's expensive to run business over there. And clearly, this business owner did not do their research. I want to say it was a do-rag store. And I don't think she really did her research when it came to that market. So a lot of people on Twitter, again, Twitter is good for the business owner. If you're a business owner, stay on Twitter. You're going to see what the consumers want. That's the best and easiest way to do a mass market research study, right? Go on Twitter and get into the people's minds. So again, she opened up a do-rag store in California, over in LA. And clearly, as soon as I seen her business model, I had a feeling it wasn't going to work. I like to be optimistic in business. Sometimes you just got to be realistic with yourself. And I'm like, ain't no way these rich folks about to be buying do-rags all the time. It's just no way. Now, if she would have took that a few blocks down to the hood, dropped the price a little bit, made it luxury, got some influencers, maybe that would have worked, kept it online for a while. But she went and got a full-out brick-and-mortar store, and the only thing she sold was do-rags. Now, y'all know, especially in the urban community, a do-rag, you need some beard oil, you need brushes, you need combs. Like, you want to really saturate that store with everything that a person who would wear a do-rag will possibly need. They might need wave gel or wave cream, all that different kind of stuff, right? She didn't do that. And a lot of people gave her some suggestions, and she kind of, I don't know what I'm doing type vibe. You know how we are in business. It's okay. I've been there before. You don't really want help because you think you got it, and then you crash and burn, and then you're like, dang, I really did need the help. So what happened was the store ended up failing because the business model wasn't sustainable. But if she would have did her research, I think she would have made out all right. All right, so you don't want to be in that place. I think that's something I'm going to implement, a case study per episode. Let me know what y'all think. All right, so again, quote of the day is, if they don't hate you, they don't know you. So a little bit of hate, a little bit of competition in business is okay. You want to make sure you're aiming up, so aim for the big dogs. You always want to be top 5 DOA, like Man Kiss says, right? Top 5 DOA. You want to stay creative, whatever that means. If you got to network, if you got to sit and write, if you got to go away for a little bit, if you got to decompress and relax and then get back to business, do your thing. And make sure, the top thing I always talk about in every episode is do your research. You can never know enough. You can never have enough education. A lot of my comrades in business, we did a lot of formal education. We still gotta go and get that informal education. So always educate yourself on your market. Always do your research, right? You can never box me out. If you do that, they can never box you out, all right? It's your girl Moriah again. This is Survival Kid, the podcast. Make sure you tune in every Thursday, 6 p.m. for new content. I got you. Talk to y'all soon.